I grew up in a big blended family where we all consider ourselves siblings, and I consider my stepmom my mom. All of us kids are close except for one, my stepsister Leanna, fake name. My parents think it's just because she didn't grow up with the rest of us, but that it's okay, and it's not. Yes, by the time she came to live with us, she was almost 18, but it's not because of that. It's because she cost the rest of us our futures. See, when she came to live with us, she'd been independently homeschooled. She was said to be very smart, but testing revealed that she only had about a 9th grade education and no transferable credits. Neither our school nor the public wanted to place her above 9th grade. Since she was only about a month from turning 18, this would mean she would be in high school until her 21st birthday and would more likely than not have to drop out anyway. The only other option was to have her get a GED. They were devastated, especially because she had an offer from family friends to get her into and through college if she did a specific program in which she did have an advanced education. If she didn't graduate that year, they would question how bad it was and likely rescind the offer. The only other option was for her to get a GED, which would force the family friend to revoke the offer even if they still wanted to help because she could never get accepted with a GED. My parents worried about this until someone they knew, who was the administrator of another private school, offered to help out. They offered to enroll her as a senior and she could spend the year catching up, provided they saw it in their hearts to give a donation, of course. $100,000 later, she graduated from an accredited high school and moved on to college. My family is just regular middle class, so paying that meant that the rest of us had to take out massive student loans, and my younger siblings even had to switch to public school. My older brother got some help before this, but there wasn't a dime for the rest of us. My parents justified it by saying that they had to do it because it was their job to give all of their kids as close to an equal start to their lives as possible, and this was the only option to do that for her. My mom asked why we all have strained relationships with Leanna, and it finally came out that, truthfully, we resent her for the enormous financial load she caused on us and the entire family. It's been 10 years, and she's never even tried to apologize or make amends, and it's grating. Now my father says that Mom has fallen into a depression because nobody loves Leanna but her, and that we weren't a family despite everything she's ever done. We are a family, just not with Leanna. Am I the idiot for reminding my parents that my stepsister ruined our family's future? OP, so what was Leanna's big offense so bad you refused to give her a chance? Oh, I get it, she existed. You are the idiot. Leanna was a child who was failed. You act like her situation is her fault when it's not. Your parents chose to pay that money, and that acquaintance with the private school took advantage of them. You're supposedly an adult. Try acting like one. Yep, I kept waiting for the point in the story where Leanna did something terrible to you and your siblings to make you hate her, but that point never came. Someone did Leanna very wrong by homeschooling her rather than sending her to a real school, and sadly, your parents had to stump up so much money to rectify this damage. She cost the rest of us our futures. OMG, no she did not. How unbelievably dramatic you are. It doesn't sound like your future has been destroyed because you went to college too, and if you really had massive loans, then your small share of that $100,000 would have barely made a dent. Your resentment dripped from your story and is entirely misplaced. Grow up. Yeah, 100,000 divided by at least 4 more kids would have been 25,000 each. It's a nice amount of money, but that barely covers 1 year of education. They would have had to take out massive loans anyway. Leanna may not have been the one to do the action, but she 100% knows that her siblings got nothing because she got so much. Leanna isn't an idiot. Maybe an "I'm sorry our parents failed you by helping me" would have been appropriate, but neither is OP. The parents are 100% idiots. I'm 5 months postpartum and our daughter is breastfed. My 30th birthday was on Thursday and I wasn't able to go out that day due to my husband working and no sitter, but he told me to make plans with my girlfriends for yesterday because he didn't work, and this way I could pump extra just to be on the safe side. This would have been the first time I'd done anything in over a year and a half. Anyway, Saturday morning his buddy wanted him to go snowmobiling with him, so he asked me if that was okay and I said yes, as long as he was back by 7 p.m. because that's when I was leaving. He said he'd be home a lot earlier than that. Well, around 4 p.m.-ish, I got a text from him saying that his buddy got the snowmobile buried because he went off trail and they were trying to dig him out. I reminded him I had plans to leave at 7, and told him to be safe and quick about it because they were an hour from his buddy's house on the trails. Needless to say, he didn't come home until 10 p.m. and he'd been drinking. He said he only had 4, but that makes no difference to me. I told him to sleep on the couch, and in frustration, I cried myself to sleep. I haven't been able to do anything, but bear in mind that he's been going out at least once a month since I got pregnant. So this morning he got up and tried apologizing to me and said he would make it up to me somehow, but I simply told him I didn't want to speak to him right now, and his actions really hurt me. All day he's been trying to corner me into discussions about it or trying to wrap me in hugs, but he won't leave me alone like I asked. So I've not only started avoiding him but also giving him the silent treatment. He's now angry with me and saying I'm being childish and that this was a one-off. He's never done this before, so given that it's a one-time mistake, I should be more willing to forgive him. I understand that this is a one-off thing, but given that it just happened to fall on the one time I had plans that he told me to make, I find it wildly coincidental. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Start making plans to go out once a week. Your husband should be taking care of the baby, not a sitter. He needs to experience what it is like to take care of a baby, so go out to the spa on a Saturday, meet your girlfriends twice a month for dinner, go to the movies and take a fun class. It's your husband's turn to be a dad. And when he asks if he can hang out with his buddies on the day you have plans, the answer is no. He's uncomfortable with his guilt and is trying to manipulate you into being okay before you're ready. He doesn't care that he abused your time and feelings. He cares that his doing so is inconvenient. You're not giving him access to your companionship and intimacy. He seems to believe experiencing guilt or remorse is the punishment or doing the work. He doesn't get to decide when he gets forgiveness under the guise of cornering you to talk it out. Totally, I'm mad at you for being mad at me. Exactly. How dare you still care about my egregiously poor behavior less than 24 hours ago? He acts like he forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. What he did would have left me unspeakably angry and ice cold. You didn't get to go out on your 30th, and he promised you that Saturday was your time to celebrate. He was a complete idiot. He made a very deliberate choice. Several. How do people end up in relationships with others they seem to hate? My 25 male sister Rosie, 29, and I had a very close bond ever since we were kids. Our parents got divorced and we used to live with our mom, who was an addict. She was abusive and neglectful. Through all that, my sister was my biggest rock. She protected, cared for, cooked and raised me till I was 13. Afterward, we started living with Dad and things got so much better. She passed away 2 months ago from ovarian cancer. We were prepared for it, but it was still obviously very hard. After her funeral, I told my girlfriend, she was staying with me for a week, her house had some work being done, that I was going to be spending time with my family. They lived close by that week. She was kind of salty about that, but it was sorted soon. I'm doing better now. Sis loved roses. Her name was Rosie too, so as a memory and to pay respect to her, I've decided to get a tattoo of a rose. Nothing big, just about 2 inches on my upper arm. My dad decided the same. I was telling my girlfriend about it and she got very angry and started screaming about how disrespectful it was to tattoo another girl on me. I told her it's my sister we're talking about and my dad's getting one too. She says that's different. She started screaming, so I walked away. She's now gotten a friend involved who says the only way I should get that tattoo is if I also tattoo my girlfriend's name on me, and she agrees. I think that's stupid as heck. We've been together for a year and she expects me to tattoo her name on me. She then proceeded to say how I must love her sister more than her, and I told her that's not a fair comparison and it's a different love. She isn't ready to listen. I don't know why she's so bothered by her. When my sister was alive, she lived close by too, and I used to visit her twice a month. Some siblings might not be close, but we've always been. It's not like we were touchy around my girlfriend because we were both not affectionate. My girlfriend thinks it's incredibly selfish and disrespectful to her that her boyfriend has some other girl tattooed on him. I don't see how. My sister and my girlfriend used to get along, but now she says sis is dead, so I need to let her go. So, am I the idiot? Oh my God, not the idiot, but leave her. That is absolutely wild behavior. Rational people wouldn't act like that. This reeks of toxic insecurity, and this is not something you can work out rationally. Sorry about your sister. Your girlfriend is insane. Her friend propping her up is insane. Run. Jesus, another woman tattooed on you? Seriously? Wow, I'm speechless. You're getting a memorial tattoo for your sister, not some girlfriend or fling. If your girlfriend cannot tell the difference, that's on her. What she and her minions are demanding is unreasonable at best. She is definitely out of pocket on this. Reevaluate your friendship. Your sister just passed, and instead of being supportive of you, she's getting snotty about you spending time with your family and over a tattoo. This is not what a supportive partner looks like. And yes, run. This person needs to be your ex with good reason. You deserve better. Update. So, to sum it up, I ended it. She came over the same evening, getting out of the car, and asked me where I planned to tattoo her name. Yep, I didn't let her come in. I told her I didn't want to deal with her crap on top of missing my sister. I'm getting the rose tattoo and we're done. I've never in my life heard someone yell so loud out on the porch. She began accusing me of being in love with my sister and how we had an inappropriate relationship, which is why I miss her so bad that I'm ready to ruin our relationship. I'm so glad I left her, because what kind of sane person says something like that? I was so disgusted that I called her names and slammed the door in her face. I'm not proud of it, but it was so revolting even to think my girlfriend would think that about someone so close to me. She shouted for about 10 more minutes and then left. It's my sister's birthday tomorrow. I've made an appointment. My dad and I are getting the tattoo. Thanks, and have a good day. I don't know if food insecurity is the correct term, but it's the term he uses to describe what this is. Honestly, I've been with him for 3 years and this is the first I've heard of it. So I came into this relationship with 2 kids. A younger tween daughter and an older tween son. I didn't introduce my boyfriend and the kids until maybe 8 months ago, and lately Ben, boyfriend, has been coming and staying here with us more often than not. Sometimes he will spend days at a time here and only go home maybe once a week. Well, lately I've noticed little signs of weird food quirks of his that I'm not okay with. He eats enough for 5 people's days worth of food, or instead of letting my kids dish out their food as I've always done, he's been doing it and giving them maybe 3/4 of what they would usually eat, but then loading up his plate to the fullest it could get. I pay for all the food, just so it's clear. One time last week, my daughter had asked for more food and he spoke up and said, "There isn't enough for everyone to have seconds." I stepped in and said that she could have more and that there was plenty for the kids to have seconds. I didn't tell him this, but I was so grossed out by it because he literally had enough on his plate to feed 3 people. And if he'd just taken a normal helping like everyone else, then there would have been plenty left over. But anyway, I spoke to him about it that night and told him that the kids come first. They eat until they're full and that is how it goes in my house. He kind of put his hands up and said, "Sorry, won't happen again," and said he just figured it wasn't fair to everyone else who wanted seconds because there wasn't enough for everyone. I'm assuming he meant himself. But anyway, he apologized, so I let it go. But then yesterday evening he went grocery shopping for me because both my kids had events, and I had a bunch of other stuff I had to do, and I didn't have time to grocery shop as well. So he told me he would go for me. I sent him with my money, more than enough, and a very specific list. Well, I had plain bagels and original cream cheese on the list. He returns with 3 different types of bagels and 3 different types of cream cheese. But I didn't complain, it's whatever. But then this morning, my kids were making themselves bagels, and Ben started scolding them for not using the correct cream cheese to go with the bagel. And he wasn't even really nice about it either. I mean, he wasn't raising his voice, but it was the look on his face, and I was immediately turned off. It was my money that bought that food, but since he went and got it, apparently he feels like it's his too, and can dictate how my children eat it. Anyway, he left for work, and I told him this wasn't going to work out because I couldn't handle his hang-ups with food. Well, he says, "I'm really sorry I have food insecurities. I know we can make this work. I'll try harder to keep my mouth shut." But I couldn't get my daughter's face out of my head when he was scolding her, and I ultimately decided I could never change that again and told him as much. He says he can't believe I'm throwing him away instead of trying to work on this. Am I the idiot for breaking up with my boyfriend because of his food insecurities? Not the idiot. I'm not sure if food insecurity is the correct term. The expression you're after is greedy and controlling. Get him out and keep him out before he starts telling your preteen daughter she's too fat and needs to restrict her calories. Your kids do not need this eating disorder generator in their lives. This is spot on, greedy and super controlling. He was doing his best to give your children disordered eating. Good riddance. Seriously, I'm tearing up just thinking about the awfulness she is almost certainly preventing, and he's making it your problem and your kids' problem. Get rid of him. Protect your kids. I, 48 female, am marrying my soon-to-be husband, 39. This is my second marriage. The first ended with my husband cheating on me and moving in with his mistress. He offered me a tidy sum to divorce him. I took that money and moved abroad, where I met my now husband. My kids, 27 female and 25 female, are angry they were not invited to my wedding. They found out through extended family that I'm getting remarried. We got divorced 5 years ago, so they were 25 and 20. They were not little kids. They wanted me to be friends with my ex and his mistress. My ex wanted me to give my blessing for his relationship. Apparently, I was his best friend, and he loved me as the mother of his children, but he was in love with his mistress. He was shocked when I no longer wanted to contact him. My kids thought I should forgive him and be friends. They went as far as to invite me to lunch or dinner with them, and then surprise invited my ex and his mistress. They would host family events with their SOs and lie to me that my ex would be earlier or later, so I didn't bump into him. Of course, he was always there. They cannot handle that he and I are no longer on speaking terms and want us to get along. Due to their behavior, I'm not in contact with them. It's my choice. I have no desire to be friends with my ex and his mistress. Am I the idiot for not inviting my kids to my wedding? Not the idiot. The way your children have behaved towards you so far, I would be worried that they wouldn't do something wrong at the wedding. Also, I still think it's pretty cold-hearted and selfish for your children and ex-husband to keep confronting you about your ex-husband's cheating and asking for your blessing. What the heck is wrong with them? Your kids are over 20 and should know better. People say, my best friend, when they really mean my best doormat. OP, that all sounds sick and toxic. Your children should still know better at their age and start living their lives independently of their father's approval. It's sick of them to act like that without considering your feelings. Well, now they get what they deserve. Congratulations on your marriage.